Cross now to our reporter Manqoba Mchunu for more on the final day of the ANC elective conference in KwaZulu-Natal. Manqoba, of course, it's certainly been a very interesting few days for the African National Congress in the province. What exactly can we actually expect today? I do understand that even the president of the ANC, Sir Ramaphosa, is expected to address, but it's certainly going to be some interesting times for the ANC, given how the unfolding of those who made it to the top positions actually went about yesterday.
Certainly, Faith, some interesting times for the ANC, given that the ANC here in KwaZulu-Natal is the biggest province of the party in terms of numbers, in terms of membership. So what happens here really will set the tone for that all-important elective conference that is going to take place at the end of this particular year. But of course, you do know, Faith, that in terms of the leaders that were elected here, there has been a bruising defeat for the Ankoles. That is a slate that is led by Sihle Zikalala, who was hoping to make a comeback here at this particular conference, but it is a clean sweep for the Taliban, who managed to get all of their preferred candidates into the top 5 of this particular position. But as far as the predominance of this particular province, you'll know, of course, Faith, that there have been kingmakers in some of these conferences in the past. That's up until 2017, where the divisions that are within this particular party had then played themselves out when they went into that conference in Nasrec in 2017. But of course, it is going to be seen as to whether the party will be able to regain its dominant status once again going into December this year. But of course, the unenviable task that is facing the leadership that is coming here in KwaZulu-Natal is the task of uniting the ANC, because we know that this party came into this conference divided, marked by political divisions, and the commitment that we've heard from the new provincial chair, Siboniso Duma, is that he will hit the ground running to ensure that he rebuilds and renews the party. And he says that there won't be any purging of any of the ANC structures or any of the ANC leaders in this particular province. But of course, he says that one of the key priorities will be to rebuild the ANC itself and to ensure that they transform the party going, of course, into the 2024 local government election. They have a very important task of trying to woo back the lost support that they've suffered over the past few years. But take a listen to what Siboniso Duma had to say just after he had been elected.
On the issue of us being revolutionaries, and true revolutionaries are being guided by the true reflection of love. We are just like that. The issue of purging in the ANC is something that the ANC doesn't look to it nicely. We frown upon purging of comrades. So you just have to be clinical. We are going to build, we are going to develop the province of KwaZulu-Natal, and the issue of Comrade Ntolo has already mentioned the issue of transition whenever there is a need. But we love each other as comrades. I think we've seen what permeated in this conference. It has been characterized by that, and that is going to assist the movement going forward. In fact, Africans are just like that. But we're going to maintain that, and we're going to build this province. We're going to take it back to where it belongs. The accountability of the traditional leadership, the issue of Nazareth Baptist Church, the issue of the royal household, and the issue of the Board of Christ, as already mentioned. That's where the ANC belongs to the larger society of KwaZulu-Natal. So the issue of 2015 is gone and long gone. We are not going to go that if we still want to win the elections, and we are going to win the 2024. And I hope we are not going to believe it now. You'll see when it happens. Thank you so much.
Well, that was Siboniso Duma, who is the provincial chair, the incoming provincial chair here in KwaZulu-Natal. But let's get more analysis on those results and the election that took place yesterday. I'm joined now by Xolani Dube from the Zubera Institute. Thank you very much, Xolani, for your time, as always. What does this mean for KZN, the fact that we are seeing a new leadership here in KwaZulu-Natal, and the fact that now the Ankoles, as they were called, are out?
Look, this is not new leadership. Start from Mahlaba. He's someone who has been in this scene with lots of allegations, scary allegation of killing people. And also, when you talk about Nomakuku, remember that we just received an AG report. How bad is that Department of Health? And when you talk about Ntolo, you remember the issue of the car accident that he caused in his area. And when you go to Nomakuku, to the chairperson, the only thing that I can say, let's do the lifestyle audit. If really he is an honest person. And so, in summary, the carcass was stolen last night. And so, it is a horror for South Africans, and it's also for the people of KwaZulu-Natal. We are really in the heart of darkness, as Joseph Conrad said. This is what KwaZulu-Natal is at currently, is the heart of darkness. The leadership that was elected, I can assure you, is worse than the previous one.
What does this mean, though, going into that important national elective conference in December for President Cyril Ramaphosa's campaign?
Look, these guys are spineless. They only worship money. And so they can't be trusted. It will be difficult to define which faction do they belong, because, they can be bought by anyone. That's why I say, do their lifestyle audit. Look how they live. These people, they worship money. And so today we can say they are with Paul, or else they are with Zweli Mkhize. These are just pickpocketers. They pickpocket everyone for their selfish enrichment. And so they can't be trusted at all.
In terms of unity, of course, this is one of the things that you'll hear on most of the leaders' mouths when they speak. They talk of unity, uniting the ANC. Do you think that post this election, we will see a united ANC here in KwaZulu-Natal?
There is no honor amongst thieves. And so as well, there will be never a unity, because as I said, these people, they worship money. And so people who worship money, they can do anything, to gain that particular pleasure of having money. And so the unit that they're talking about, the renewal that they've been pumping, let me tell you something, is just building the castle in the air. These are scoundrels, these are gangsters, and so don't trust what they say. Let's look at what they've done previously and then compare what they will be doing to us moving forward.
Of course, there have been promises that no one is going to be purged and that they will unite this particular party. Do you see that happening?
Look, Sihle removed Duma as the chairperson for the Portfolio Committee for Transport, and I can assure you, Sihle is going to fall very soon, and as well as Mshengu. Obviously, Dumsani is no longer a secretary. I don't think that by end of the week he will still be there in that office. And so the purge is already started. And as I said, I don't foresee Sihle finishing his term. But look, for us, Sihle or Siboniso, we don't find any value, and so it's their own kind of moving chairs for themselves in order to devour what is left. But as I said, the carcass has been stolen. There is nothing left for South Africa, and especially for the people of KwaZulu-Natal.
One woman in that top 5 in the form of Nomakuku Simelane Zulu, what does it speak to?
It speaks about the type of women who are in the ANC. These are people who cannot stem their authority. These are people who are also spineless, because if they were honest about the issue of gender, they were supposed to support Nomsa Dube, and clearly women in the ANC and men are the same. They are spineless, they can't be trusted, they betray each other for their own selfish upward mobility.
Let's talk about that, the issue of Nomsa Dube and the fact that she had, for the first time, we saw a woman candidate contesting and putting a name up for that chair position here in the province. The fact that she lost this, is it over for Nomsa Dube?
Look, I think she might finish her term as an MEC. But if it was Sihle, I don't think that she was going to finish it. I think Abu Duma, they will simply let her finish the term. And look, maybe they might throw her to the national executive position. You know how they do this, guys, is an upward demotion. They simply send you to parliament to go there and sleep, or they send you to the national office to go there and become useless, and so because they are chasing you away from the real issues where there is more money, there's direct decision. And so I think that's her destiny now, is to be thrown to the National Assembly and be thrown to the National Executive Committee of the ANC.
Okay, one other issue, of course, you know that the ANC previously has been quite dominant when it came to those elective conferences. They have had a bigger voice in terms of who the next leader should be. Do you see the ANC regaining its predominance here in KwaZulu-Natal post this elective conference?
ANC, as I said previously, we are writing the last chapter. If you are not reading the last chapter, a very sad last chapter that no one wants to read it anymore, you know. And so I think this is the end of the ANC, and the people of KwaZulu-Natal can't be fooled anymore. Sihle and the others have done the worst thing in this province. And so Duma has been there, you know. These are not new faces. These are the people when people were devouring the hope and the trust that people bestowed upon them. They never stood up against Sihle, but they were clapping hands and they were eating with him. And so it's their turn to eat. But for the people of KwaZulu-Natal, I think now it's up to them to stand up and teach them the lesson. Because as we speak, we have people who are in halls. We have people who are staying in tents. We have people who were killed in Phoenix. And there is no justice in KwaZulu-Natal for the South African natives. And Duma and this crew that is leading were part of those people who were doing bad things, who were doing things that any human being is supposed to do to another one. And so they are not different from Sihle. And so I don't think that they stand a chance to win the election in 2024. They are not going to win those elections.
And in terms of the ANC here in KwaZulu-Natal and its dominance in that National Elective Conference, will it regain it?
Look, they've been liquidated. You know, in KwaZulu-Natal there was this fallacy that says is the home base of the RT. We have seen it. We have not seen the RT, but we have seen Zweli contesting Cyril here. And the question that we have to ask ourselves, what is going to happen to Zweli? And what is going to happen to Cyril? And so there is a person behind this curtain who is pulling strings, and that is Paul Mashadile. Watch that person. It might surprise a number of people, because as we speak, in terms of nothingness in leadership of the ANC, he's the only one. When you go to the scales of corruption, as much as we know that he's corrupt, but in terms of scales of corruption with evidence, he has not been in court. And so I think he can use that as his victory card.
Okay, thank you very much. That was Xolani Dube from the Zubera Institute, just giving us his insight of what happened here yesterday. Of course, we're expecting that the conference will resume. It was meant to start at 9, but at this particular point, I can tell you that we have not seen any movement. No buses arriving at this particular time. It tells you, Morena, that events yesterday went on until very late. So it is going to be another important election that takes place this morning, the election of the additional members who will form part of the PEC. But of course, the big moment for today, we're expecting President Cyril Ramaphosa to address this particular conference. The closing address is expected to be given by him, but when exactly that will be remains to be seen at this particular point.